Good evening, everybody. We are so glad to have you with us tonight for an important topic, redistricting public hearing, a Sequoia Healthcare District Town Hall. My name is Charlene Margot, and I'm co-founder of nonprofit The Parent Venture that brings you the Parent Education Series. Tonight, we are delighted to have with us representatives from the Sequoia Healthcare District, including Pamela Kurtzman, the CEO, Jenny Bratton, the Grants Development Director, and physician and longtime board member, Jerry Sheffrin. We're going to start out tonight's presentation with some comments again from Jerry, president of the Sequoia Healthcare District Board. Jerry.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate all of you for attending this evening. In 2001, a law was passed called the California Voting Rights Act. And what we will be doing at the board at our next meeting is to fulfill our responsibilities under that act to be sure that our district zones are appropriately sized to represent the community in an appropriate way. Every time there is a census and the population shifts are significant, we are required by law to readjust our zones to make sure that each zone is relatively equal in size. I would make one other additional comments before Jenny starts, and that is to just emphasize that the whole purpose of this is to prevent the minority vote from being diluted in an election. It allows for minorities to have a little bit more power in electing one of their representatives from their particular community. So with that effort, we will, at our next meeting, approve a rezoning map, which quite honestly is a relatively modest change from our current one, but we'll continue to ensure that minority voters have a better chance of electing a representative that they believe will represent them on the board of directors. So with that, Jenny, maybe you can explain this better than I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry, for that important commentary. Jenny, we look forward to seeing your slides.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. And I'm very pleased and honored to present the plan, the redistricting map plans we have. So because of the law that Jerry talked about, every 10 years, we have to take our census data and examine our census data and see whether there has been shifts in the population. So this slide shows you the 2020 census data alongside our map that we currently have of our district. So let's just take a few seconds to look over the data and the map. Our map is divided into 5 districts, and these 5 districts are zoned to have approximately equal population sizes within each district. In 2010 was when the census, last census occurred, and this map was made from that census data. Now we have new census data that shows a shift in populations, especially if you note in District 1 and District 4. I placed asterisks next to those 2 districts because they showed the most significant difference among the population. So in District 1, we have a population of 53,000, a little bit over 53,000. And in the parentheses, it shows that this is a 7.3 deviation above the standard population, the average population. And in District 4, there's a population of 46,440, which is a negative 6.1% deviation in population. Because the population deviations add up to more than 10%, we are by law bound to redistrict. And redistricting, the aim of the redistricting is to make the population sizes in each zone closer together. The total SHD population, it is good to note, is close to 250,000, close to 250,000. So I'm going to pause here so that you can take a look at the census data. There were slight shifts in the other districts, But again, those slight shifts are not as significant as District 1 and District 4. So that is what our map plans are, what our map choices are trying to address, is to try to get the differences more equal. Okay. So back in November, we had our demographer from Redistricting Partners give us 4 choices. And the Redistricting Partners is the demographer we used when we redistrict last time. So he is very familiar with redistricting, and he has been charged with redistricting a lot of the local maps. So we trust him and his group in this process because we have worked with them before. So what they came back with to us in November were these 4 choices. So I will tell you the differences between these 4 choices in a minute, but when looking at these 4 choices in the initial first public hearing we held in November, the board eliminated choice C. Choice C was the most extreme of all these maps presented. What choice C did was he basically redrew all the boundaries of every single district to make them all equal. So close to 50,000, in each district. So there was a drastic change in every single boundary. So as the board felt that we were trying to minimize the changes, the board decided to eliminate C. So along this presentation, I will only be talking about A, B, and D. Okay. So these are the choices that we were left with. Starting in December, we went to the community groups to give community presentations, and we asked the community groups to give us their opinions and feedback, and actually vote through a survey or a poll that you will be asked to vote at the end of the presentation. And it is between these 3 plans. So the first plan is a minimum change to the district boundaries. This change really addresses that overpopulation in District 1 and underpopulation in District 4. So the original District 1 covers this entire green area. And what this plan does is it dissects District 1 and gives almost half of District 1 to District 4, thereby evening these populations out. Okay, so there's a minimal change in boundary. Basically, District 4 expands its boundaries and takes part of District 1's boundaries, and District 1 shrinks its boundaries. But this plan, again, does not affect the other districts. Nothing has changed in the other district boundaries. So this plan represents the most minimal change by addressing the population differences in these 2 districts. Next is Plan B. This is, again, a minimum change, although it is aimed at reducing all the boundaries, all the sizes in the districts to a less than 0.05% population deviation. Okay, so in this case, if you look at the dark boundaries, the darkened lines in the boundaries, you can see a few shifts. So for example, in this area, District 3, which is purple, the change is creating a new boundary where part of District 5, the orange, is now co-opted inside District 3. If you look at 2, they are also getting part of the formerly District 3 boundaries, the purple. Okay, and there's a slight change. I don't know if you can see it here between 2 and 5. Okay, so if you can see my cursor, there's maybe a couple of blocks here that's exchanged. And then if you look at the former District 4, again, it's taking part of District 1's boundaries, but it's also losing a little bit of city blocks here from District 3. So here, even though it represents trying to get all the population sizes within a 0.5% deviation of each other, you can see the boundary does affect every single district. Okay. And then the last plan. This plan aims to try to maximize a minority voting block. So this is exploring if a majority minority Latino district can be drawn. So what the map demographer did was they looked at the census information and approached it, how can I make a district that is primarily Latino voters or a large percentage of Latino voters? So the former District 4 was at 43.3% Latino citizen voting age population. By shifting its boundaries this way, the map demographer was able to maximize it and increase the 43.3% citizen voting age population to 48%. So you can see here, it mostly shifts over to co-opt a large part of this Redwood City area that it didn't have before in the purple. And then it loses this part of the Redwood City area. Okay. And then there's a little bit of slight shifts between 2 and 3 in this area, in this border too. So basically, this allows for this District 4 to be to maximize its Latino voting power. Okay, so those are the 3 plans that we have for you to choose from. And I'm going to go through this fairly quickly. This is a little bit more in-depth look at A, B, and C. So keep in mind that, what we're concerned about is, figuring out what the differences are in between each of these in terms of how it affects the citizen voting age population. So in between, for these 3 plans, for District 1, there is no difference. Okay, so Plan A, B, and C, there's no difference in terms of the District 1 voting age population. Okay, you can see by looking at it that there's a little bit different outline in Plan D, but between Plan A and Plan B, there's no difference in the outline. So that's a side-by-side look. In District 2, again, in terms of citizen voting age population, between these 4 groups, there's very discernible, very little difference. Okay. And then District 3, this is where the differences actually are a little bit more significant, but we're talking about a 2% difference. And that is captured by this Plan D has a 10% Asian population, and this plan captures a 1% African American population. Whereas previously in these 2 plans, A and B, we had 9% and then 0%. And we're talking 0% is probably, there are people who are African Americans just not captured in the census. They're not large enough to be a percentage. Okay, and District 4, this is the one that has the most distinct difference. Here in Plan D, you get 48% Latino, we talked about that before, versus in Plan B, there's only 43%, and Plan A only has 42%. So this is where you will see the most dramatic difference in terms of voting age population. And then again, District 5, there's no difference, or virtually very little difference. But you do see a little bit slight difference in the maps, right? If you look at the outline, A and D are similar. B in this case is where the map is a little bit different. I know it's really hard to see from the outline in the maps because it's not close up, but it tells you that really between these three plans, there are differences, but the differences are so slight that it doesn't really affect citizen voting age, except for, again, District 4. Right, and then your choice is basically A, B, or D. And in terms of difference, D produces the most difference, or most different outcomes. So those are the plans. Okay, and if you could give us your feedback, we would really appreciate it. I know that was quick and probably not very detailed, but it gives you a sense of the choices we're making with the board on April 6th. And so any type of feedback would be highly appreciated. The poll is, you can find the poll at bit.ly/SHDmax. So thank you again. And if you have questions, please feel free to contact us. My email is jbratton@seqhd.org, and we welcome any type of feedback. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Jenny. I know I learned a lot. To wrap us up tonight, Pamela, or do you have any comments?
I first want to thank Jenny for all the work that she's put into this. It's been a long journey in gathering the data, the meetings with the demographer. We've really put a lot of work into this. And thank you, Jerry, for your participation in this process. It's been your feedback and your support through all of this has been very helpful and actually essential. I do have a quick question. I just want to just clarify and maybe open for discussion. Really, I think Jerry could answer this probably best, but why did the board decide to eliminate that first map right away? I know, but I want it to be informative for anyone watching this video.
I think the major reason is that when this law was passed, one of the caveats of the law, according to the demographers, was that this is not an attempt to disrupt boards and disenfranchise board members or change characteristics of a current board. And by doing the one that was eliminated, it would have combined various board members into one particular district and would have been a more disruptive kind of plan. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It just felt that that wasn't what we needed to do in order to accomplish what we wanted to in following the law.
Thank you for that, because I think that's important for people to understand. We didn't just dismiss this for some random reason, that there was real thought in that. And so I just wanted that to be part of this record on video, because that is an important question I've been asked as well. I encourage people to get involved with district, go to our website, look at all the great things that we do. We have a long time partnership with several, about 70 different community partners. And we value each and every one of them. We value each and every one of our residents. Please attend our board meetings. You have an opportunity to provide input at those as well. And I hope to see you at one of our meetings. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pamela Crispin, CEO of the Sequoia Healthcare District. Thank you, Jenny Bratton, Grants Development Director at the Sequoia Healthcare District, and Jerry Sheffrin, longtime board member and president. We appreciate you all being here today for tonight's town hall meeting, redistricting public hearing presented by the Sequoia Healthcare District. Take care, everybody. We hope to see you at the next town hall.